Thanks for joining us on Coast to Coast Pest Talk.
Okay. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in to Coast Pest Talk. I'm your host, Gabe with Pest Patrol, joined here by Andy with Perimatech Pest Management in Syracuse, New York. And today we've got a very special guest, which we will introduce shortly. But first, I wanted to remind you to join our LinkedIn group, Coast to Coast Pest Talk on LinkedIn. It's awesome. I think we have 70 members.
Tens of people in there.
Did we cross 70?
I think we did.
There are dozens.
Actually, I think actually having the Brits on, having Alex from
That's
England on, we got a whole big flood of people that
most of
got
them are
interested.
British, and the Revolutionary War will begin shortly. But
you can learn the British swear words. It'll be great.
But today we got a special guest. He's the owner of Bugsy Pest Solutions. Zach Bernstein is his name, and we'll be interviewing him today and kind of hearing about his business and his background in the industry. So let's bring that guy in. Can we do that?
Yeah, we can totally do that.
Welcome, Zach. Yes.
I feel like we need like applause, like you come on stage like a late night show, right? And you come across and the band's playing. We need little band music and be like, hey, and you got a fake hug and then sit them down on the couch and, the whole thing.
Is that in the budget for us? Did we get that approved?
Our budget is 0, so yeah, sure. No, we can do that.
Cool.
I'll build a set here. Oh my God. Okay, so Zach, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
We're doing good. How's the weather in Florida? My goodness.
About 75 degrees. A little cold for me.
A little cold. Our high was 42 today, and I was like out in shorts, so it was great.
Andy was shoveling snow in shorts.
Yes. Oh my
goodness. I didn't know any better. I'd think you were Canadian if you were doing that.
We're pretty close. We're only about an hour away from the Canadian border, so we're right there.
It's funny, they come down here and they're riding motorcycles and they're wearing like nothing but a Speedo, and everyone else here is walking around with like very large coats on.
So since you're our first, you're like a native Floridian, right?
Basically, at this point, I mean, I've been here since I was 6, so
that'll count. So we've never had someone from Florida on before, so you'll have to settle the age old. Is it an American roach or a palmetto bug?
Ooh.
For me, it's an American roach. For everyone else, it's a palmetto bug. So when I talk to them on the phone, I say palmetto bug. I go, is it a German roach or do you think it's a palmetto bug? And they, you can usually get them to say it for you. So you catch them over the phone and you already know what you're working with.
There you go.
Wow. Brilliant.
That's Southern slang.
Are they not as nasty if they're a palmetto bug?
Yeah, definitely. It's so funny. People will call them palmetto bug, and they go, "No, they're not roaches. They're palmetto bugs." I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
I would never have roaches in my house. Are you kidding me?
Whatever helps you sleep at night. What part of Florida are you in, Zach?
I'm in Palm Beach County. So where like Donald Trump flies into that you see on the news, that airport is 10 minutes from my location.
Well done. You should do pest control for Donald.
Man, I'm trying. If only.
So I noticed something.
I gotta say one thing. I used to do pest control for Dominion voting machines. Yeah.
What?
Yep. Gave up that account when the whole thing was going. Yep.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Go back there.
Oh my goodness.
It's like a claim to fame.
Yeah. I have a few. It's weird. I have a few clients that are like people that you've seen or heard about, in the news recently, and sometimes on a regular basis. I have to sign NDAs for that, but it's it's kind of weird living out here in Palm Beach County. There's a lot of like important people out there.
For those listening and not watching on YouTube, he gave the finger quotes to important. So we reached out to Zach actually because He's involved with a program that Pete Schopen's doing for PMP Magazine, mentoring program. He calls it Startup Stories. You may have seen it in the magazine, where he picks a handful of operators that are up and coming and mentors them for a year and writes about what's going on. And Gabe kept it from me for a long time, and I found out when the magazine came out that he was involved with this, and we got talking. We said, you know what, we should have some of these folks on and chat about some of this. Yeah.
I'm so famous. I actually had to sign an NDA.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, pretty much. So, Zach, I know a little of your history here, but if you can just kind of go over a little of that. It looks like you just jumped right into pest control cold, huh?
Yeah. So
You sound like me.
so it was like I got out of the Marine Corps. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I mean, I was an infantry Marine, so I was good at targeting things and pulling a trigger. And I guess
Yes.
there's not really many. After that, you can go into law enforcement or firefighters. They usually get picked up pretty quick if you were in the military. But that wasn't really the route that I was looking to go into at that time. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But I knew that I kind of wanted to like have a good time because I just got out of the Marine Corps, so I wanted to just do what I wanted to do and run my own life, not have someone else run my life for me.
Sure.
So I spoke to a friend of mine at the time. I got recruited into a motorcycle club, and the guy who's in the motorcycle club, which I had, was in for like 5 or 6 years after that point. His wife worked at a pest control company, and I was like, "Hey, do you know anywhere hiring?" And he said, "Hey, just go over to where my wife works, and you have the job. No worries, So I went over there. It was a smaller company, like maybe 5 or 6 employees, techs out on the road, and a manager, and I kind of got my start there, and it was like I fell in love with it. I went from sleeping like a homeless person outside in the worst of conditions with a rifle slung to my leg, and then just you don't really like life in the infantry. It's not fun, to live like that. So then now I'm like outside playing with bugs and sleeping in a warm bed at night, and I was like, man, I can get into this. This is pretty cool. And when I saw what I was bringing in for my boss in a day, I was like, well, like what do I got to do to be him? And in the Marine Corps, it's like everything you do is like life or death type of training. So like like when I took that mentality and I was like, I'm gonna learn everything that I possibly can about this industry, which will take me the rest of my life to complete that until I'm dead. I'll never learn everything, but I learned as much as I could that was relatable to my area, and I found some niches in the system that other companies don't really do. And I kind of came into my own after I worked for about 5 years under other operators, and then I got licensed in general pest control. That took 3 years. Then it's 9 months. This is how it works in Florida, by the way. So you have to work for the first 3 years as like almost like an apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
You work under the licensee. After that, if you're eligible to go take the general pest control license or the test for the license. And then I did that, and then 9 months in termites. So did that, then applied for the exam, took the exam in that, and then 9 months in lawn and ornamental.
Wow.
And so like treating trees and other stuff, fertilizations, all weed control, stuff like that. Did that. And now my next and final thing that I want to do is get into fumigations. And I already went to the school for it, but I didn't have enough. You have to have a certain amount of time, like working under a licensee for that. And then you have to have like 15 verifiable jobs. And then you are eligible to take that state exam. So when it comes to like running a business or opening your business, Florida, in my opinion, like I respect it. You got to start from the bottom. You got to put in your time, and that's what I did. So now I'm here and I'm doing what what my bosses were doing, and I love every second of it. It's stressful, but it's way better on this end than it was, killing myself every day for 12 hours a day out in the heat. I still have to do it sometimes, but now that we're getting to a certain point, I can kind of like work on the business rather than always being out there in the field, doing everything myself.
Yeah, and where have you grown to now? Like how many people? Is it just you, or is it a handful?
Yes.
Or
So we purchased a insulation machine and a vacuum and a trailer for that. So that's one side of the business that we're trying to blow up. And I have two guys that are kind of like my on-call guys. So when I sell a job, they come and they're up there in the attic and removing the insulation and blowing in the new stuff. On the general pest control and the lawn care, and I don't really let anyone touch the termites without me present, just because out here we have I think 23 or 26 species of termite, and 6 of them are invasive. One of them being the formosan. So if you've seen what a formosan can do in a very short span of time, it's not really something that I want to take any chances with. So I got 2 guys right now that are doing the GHP and the lawn thing, and then occasionally they'll come and assist me on some termite work. So a total of 4 people, and then my wife runs the office side, and I kind of do more of like the marketing and training and doing some callbacks if my guys can't figure it out, stuff like that. So that's where we're at right now.
wow, and you launched 2 years ago?
No, we are in our 15th month of business now, 14th, 15th month.
Wow.
So we
Good
actually
job.
we closed out our first year at 370,000.
There you go.
Whew.
So I can't help but notice you measure in months since you started. Like all I think of is having kids.
Yeah.
Right. And you have a kid and you're like, that kid is 27 months old or 38 months old. Right. So is this company like a child?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so when my father passed away, he left me his bus company, and
Oh,
it was writing it. He was on his deathbed writing how to run this company on hospital napkins,
oh my gosh.
So, and I am to this day, we still run it. It's more of like a brokerage now than we used to have 11, 12 buses. And that's actually located in New York City, by the way. I know you said you're in Syracuse, right?
What?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, so we do that remotely. My wife, actually, I don't deserve the credit. I did it for the first like 4 years myself, and it's too much to deal with. So she does that, and she does the pest control side, the collections, the scheduling, the taking calls from the customers. She got a baby in one arm, so she's really like the glue that holds it all together. She's the rock. So it's
Wow.
definitely without her, I don't think we would be at the point that we're at, because I'm not computer literate. I know how to pull a trigger. I know the science of bugs. That's about it.
Oh my goodness. Well, that there's that saying, behind every great man's a great woman telling him what to do.
That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
That's right.
I know our first year we had my wife was at home with a 9-month-old, 10-month-old, and she's got the kid in one arm and she's got the phone on the other, and she's booking jobs and
Yeah.
and doing what you have to do.
Yep. It's I mean, it's the American dream. It really is.
Oh my goodness.
That's
So,
awesome.
oh yeah, if you got questions too, Gabe, jump right in. I'm
No,
not,
go for it.
I don't want to jump all your. So how did this come along with Pete? Like, how did this opportunity come up?
I put myself out there. I showed a lot of stuff that I was doing that isn't your conventional type of pest control. We refer to Bugsy's Pest Solutions as the special forces of pest control. We do what people aren't willing to do, don't know how to do, or can't do, as a company. And we're not really afraid to jump right into things. And so it's one of those, for me, it's one of those things where I want to be able to satisfy the client as a whole in all the different fashions. You know what I mean? So that's kind of this kind of started from wanting to be different and have a niche
Yeah.
that other pest control companies don't have, and I guess that caught the eye of Pete. He tells me I remind him of himself when he was in my point of life, you know.
Yeah.
So that I take that as a dear compliment, because he's very successful, and that's that's my vision as a visionary for this company and for what I want in my life. I would like to have a similar outcome to him. Um, so yeah,
Sure.
I guess he just you notice hard work, and that's in my blood.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So what are you hoping to learn from this arrangement?
Pete consults me in a lot of ways, as well as like he's there to get the story of of the start of us and how we're going and where we're going and blah blah blah. But in the same sense, like he will give you like that like fatherly type of love and be like, hey, like this is what I think you guys should be doing, and kind of help guide us, and it's really nice of him to do that because he doesn't have to do it. He's there to get the story, but he cares enough to be like to want to have a hand in our success.
Yeah.
So I appreciate him in many ways, and my wife appreciates him, because I'm very high strung and like what you would expect a Marine to be like. You're not seeing it right now, right? But when I get into the nitty gritty of a conversation, he'll pipe me down real quick. So that's
Has he given you the now, Zach? I'm not going to tell you how to run your business.
Yep. Yep.
And then he gives you some gold nugget of how to run your business. And you're like,
Yep.
thank you. Thank
Yep.
you.
Is that the general correction? I'm not telling you how to run your business, but stop doing this dumb thing.
So
Like nonstop.
he actually said that to me last night because I found some guy who wants to sell his route. All right. And he's like, and so I asked for Pete's advice. I like called him, and if you know Pete's like a religious man. So like he's at church on Sunday. So like I'm calling him up on a Sunday. Like he's like, and then he calls me back. He's like, yeah, I just got out of church. I'm like, oh, I feel really bad.
Oh no.
But I have this pressing matter that I'm meeting somebody tomorrow at a Starbucks, and he wants to sell his route, and I need to know how to bid it out to like I need to know how to to pitch him, And so he gave me advice on that. And anyways, the guy wants like the route brings in like 76,000 a year. It's only 33 accounts. He gave me like a whole list of whatever, and then he said that he wants 150,000. It brings in 75, 76 or whatever thousand a year, but he wants 150K for it, and so he wants two times what it's worth. I'm like, 2 times everyone growth. Thinks that their business. Everyone thinks that what they have is worth more than what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm sending him screenshots of the text message back, and I'm like, no one's gonna buy your business for this. And he's like, he gives me the gentle correction. He's like, well, I would have been a little bit more gentle about it. I would have said it like this. And I'm just like, I'm not that person. I'm very cut and dry and matter of fact. Like, this is what it is, and I don't care what you think. That's the way that my father was like that. He's from Brooklyn, that old school New Yorker.
Yes.
Keep it gangster. I got something to say. I'm saying it. You don't like it. That's all.
Yeah, because I think Andy, you probably know more than me, but just a little that I've heard, at least in my area, that from national acquisitions and stuff, a common, especially for smaller, little guys getting eaten up, a common offer will be like 1 times gross, just like no questions asked, 1 times gross kind of thing.
It's hard to say. It depends on so many things, so many factors of like what that account makeup's like. If it comes with the guy, like is a route and a person coming along with it, or
in this case it was 33 accounts and 14 of them were restaurants, 2 of them were residential, and the rest were like some doctor's offices and some other stuff. To be honest with you, that's for me. There's two for me that there's two commercial accounts that I could care less about, and that's the restaurant accounts. They're the cheapest ones. They always have the most issues, and they don't want to pay for stuff when they need stuff, because when you look at a restaurant, it's such a low profit margin business that they're penny pinching with everything, and they don't pay on time and all this stuff. It's just a headache for me. So if half of that is restaurants, I'm offering you 50 to 60 cents on the dollar, and I'm not paying you a lump sum either. I'll pay every time they pay me for a year, so we pay off that amount. That's what you're gonna get. It's a safety net. You know what I mean? Because for all I know, like it's just too much of a possibility for things to go awry. I even told him, I said, if that one account drops off in the year of the transition, I shouldn't have to pay for it.
Right. And when we've looked at those in the past too, we've also looked at what's our average cost of sale. So like, what would it cost us to sell that many accounts and just put them on organically? If we have 33 accounts, do we have to pay $150,000 to gain 33 accounts? Not a chance.
No.
So it makes no financial sense to pay for something that we can grow ourselves.
Yeah. I just realized it was restaurants and apartments. Apartment buildings. When you're competing with one of the bigger companies and they're doing it for $1.50 a door, and then you have all the callbacks you got to deal with, and the reason why they do that is because they want to get in with the Centricon, they want to get in with the bait stations, the termites, and make money in other avenues. But I mean, it really devalues us as a whole. When that's one of the big things that I've always disliked about the pest control industry, is that we're like the butt crack, like plumbers, like we're out here, choking each other out for $30, a $30 pest control account. That's a common theme that you see, that, it's out there. That's what the competition is. They're like, well, the other company did it for $30. Well, the other company's out of business. That's why you're calling it. That's why you're calling me, and that's what you're expecting. And it's just like, we can do better as an industry. You look at electricians, you look at plumbers, they won't start the van for less than an $80 inspection fee. Meanwhile, you got these guys out here, Yoo-hoos, that got free inspections on the back of their truck. So you're going to go out there and spend an hour of your time and give, all that knowledge, the years that it took you to learn, whatever you know that makes you an expert in your area, and you're going to give that away for free? No. We tell people, look, the estimate is free. If you can call me up, you can articulate what you have going on, I'll tell you an estimated range of what that would cost. If you want me to come out there, start use my gas or send a tech out there that I'm paying him either hourly or whatever it is that I'm paying him, that's using our resources, and that's work, and that is worth something to me, at least.
Yeah. Well, and you're also you're probably in one of the most competitive regions. That whole southeast and into Florida, is tough for competition. I mean, honestly, like the number of pest control companies we have here in Syracuse is minuscule because we have winter. I think that there's downward pricing pressure in those areas where you have so much more competition. And if you can differentiate yourself and get above that fray, you'll be in great shape. You just don't want to play down in the mud with everybody.
Right. Yeah. I would rather do one big job than 10 small jobs.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Zach, who are some of your mentors, like growing up?
I would say my dad. I was in an Explorer program for like police officer, like training teenagers type thing. I don't know if you guys have something like that where you're at. They call it the Explorers program. And, I met a few cool cops in that. And I, try to stay. There really wasn't a whole lot of, good people that I looked up to. But my dad, for me, was everything. So I would say that's who I look up to, my mentor, my hero. Now, in business, Paul Bello, Pete Schopen, those are the two big names out there. There's a bunch of other little people that have helped me along the way. And I look at those people as mentors. I know that I can call them anytime I need. Last night I wanted to quote someone. I saw somebody that I knew on Facebook was about to get a slab put down, and that needs to get pre-treated. And I called a guy that I know from Pest Cemetery. His name is Joey Leia, and he owns a company up in, I think, Pensacola or Sarasota, one of those places. And called him at like 9 o'clock at night, texted him. I was like, yo, can I hop on a call with you real quick? And he's laying in bed with his wife, and we ended up having an hour-long conversation after the fact, and he's helping me, get a pre-treat price per, cents per square. So it's like, it's so cool. That's one of the things I love about this industry, is that I can just like call anybody that I'm become friendly with, and they're willing and able and want to help you, and
Yeah.
it's awesome, So there's you hear the good side and you hear the bad side to from my perspective at least, and what I have to deal with, And you said, yeah, as you said, there's like I think over 1,000 companies that are in competition just in my general area, like within the next couple counties around us. So it's insane.
Wow. Yeah, I think in New York State in the entire state there are 1,400 companies that do pest management, structural pest management, and that's the entire state.
Wow.
So yeah, if you have 1,000 just like are in your area, that's crazy. It's like you're tripping over them. They're all over the place.
Everywhere, like you see the trucks on the roads everywhere.
Wow.
Cow.
That's crazy.
So I was fishing through your Facebook page before we came on.
Wow, well done.
As you would normally do, you stalk Facebook stalks to people. So I couldn't help but notice one of the most striking differences between New York and Florida. I came across a promo. With the purchase of home insulation, you can get yourself a free AR-15.
Hell yeah!
Rifle. No. Yes.
Yes.
So I don't know if, like in New York, because I saw a picture of a rifle, if I have to report myself now.
I think you do.
I think, I probably have to.
The secret police will be at your door shortly.
Yeah.
Report to the third. So how did that come about? Tell me about this. I was just so curious.
All right. So it's so funny that you brought that up, because I was just speaking to somebody from the news station here locally about that. And it's so, all right. When I first moved to Florida, all right, and I first came into the South, I remember on seeing it wasn't on TV, but you would drive around, and you would see signs outside of banks, and it would say, open account with us, win a free shotgun, get a free shotgun. Oh
my goodness.
And so, and then in the last couple of years, it has become kind of popular that roofing companies have started giving away during Thanksgiving, doing like Thanksgiving promo, and they'll give away a free AR-15 and a turkey if you get your roof done with them.
That is so smart.
I remembered that as a kid growing up, and I said, in business, you want to separate yourself from other people, right? So I'm like, if I get somebody who's like a liberal New Yorker that doesn't want to, they're like, I don't like guns or whatever. I'm like, all right, well, the price of that AR-15 is $500, and I'll give you a rebate for $500. But if you want, if we're going to protect your home, and by removing, contaminated insulation that, a vector for disease contaminated your attic, and we're removing that, and then we're sanitizing it, and we're doing it the proper way, and then blowing in new insulation, then we're protecting your health, we're protecting your home, and then as an added thank you for choosing our service, we're going to give you the means to protect yourself in your home.
Yes.
It's
so
kind
good.
of a play on that. It's I'm a Second Amendment supporter. I'm a constitutionalist at the end of the day. I think that the government kind of overreaches in a lot of ways.
No.
The tax system was not meant to be the way that it is, but over
the
time,
government overreach, Zach?
Yeah.
No way.
So I like to do things within, and it's completely within legality, of course. I mean, you go to a gun store, if that person's a felon, they're not going to get the gun. They're going to get the $500 rebate because they can't own the gun. You know what I mean? and the gun store is going to run that FBI background check on them, federal check, and they're going to have to, if they don't have a concealed weapons license, they can't even pick up the gun that day. They have to wait a 10-day what they call a cooling off period, because back in the day, you'd have a husband or a wife that was scorned, and they'd go pick up the gun and go home and take their lover's life. So they
That's
kind of
awesome.
put the kibosh on that and put a waiting period.
Wow. Yeah, it was pretty striking. When I way back in a million years ago when I was growing up, I remember they had like raffles at the VFW and stuff, and you could like raffle for a rifle or a shotgun or whatever. And up here, it has all gone away. That's just not something you see around these parts, but that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
What's your long-term kind of vision, Zach, for the company? You don't have to get into specific sales metrics or anything, but
I would like to have multiple branches throughout the state and kind of become like a staple or a well-known, company within the state. If we can get it to like 10 million in the next, 10 years or so, or maybe 15 years, I'll be a happy camper. That's kind of really the goal. But I'm just enjoying the process. I don't need to know everything. I just need to know who to go to for everything, type of thing.
Yep.
And luckily, there's been a lot of people that have paved the way before me, and all I need to do is add my own charisma and creativity to it, and then put the right SOPs in place, and the right, some of the right people in place. Harder than said, easier said than done.
Yeah.
But we're learning as we go. We're growing really fast, a little bit faster than we kind of had to slow things down when the baby came. So that's my goal is, if I could have like 50 or 60 employees and maybe have a couple branches, I'd be happy.
What's your favorite pest?
Rodent.
This is the most important question.
So I have a tattoo of a rat on my leg, and it's in a Victor trap, and the kill bar is coming down on it, and it's got dollar, like in Mario, and he hits his head and it comes out. There's dollar signs coming out of the head. I have to say that's my favorite. It's just the most detective. It's like the most type of detective work, and that's my niche. So that's like where I have had companies, not to toot my own horn, but I have had companies ask me to come out and solve issues for them that have gone on for five years, and they're like, we've tried everything, we can't figure it out. These people, the customer's ready to sue us over this, like large HOAs and stuff like that. And it's just because I'm big into networking, so I understand, rodents in Florida at least come into a home two ways. They can come in through the exterior, because we have roof rats, so they're expert climbers like a squirrel. And we don't really deal with squirrels out here, but that get into people's homes like you guys do probably. But the one way is they'll get into the attic through the roof or through the AC vent line or something like of the sort. The other way is through the plumbing. If you have faulty plumbing and you're connected to the sewer, you're gonna have rats popping out of a plumbing pipe in your wall. And we have cornered the market on how to do that by working with plumbers, and found out that in our state we don't have laws that prevent us from doing diagnostic testing. So I have the niche on how to do that diagnostic testing that most other companies do not know. I've been one of the only companies that I've ever seen. I've been doing this for like 8 years. Never seen other companies do what's called smoke testing.
Yeah.
Yep. And so we come in, and I tell you, I've had people say, you're the 5th company I've hired, and you came in and solved my problem in 2 minutes. And I can walk into, I've gotten so good to this that I can walk into a place and I can smell it, and I go, okay, I think I know what you need. And before I even start the trapping and everything else, we do a smoke test. Sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you're trapping for 2+ weeks, and you're like, at what point do you say, this is crazy? Well, there's no way that there's this many rats inside of a residential house or inside of this type of building, and you do the exclusion, you do everything, and it's still you still got 10 traps out and 10 rats every other day that you go there to check the trap. So okay, now we need to try something different. And because we take that approach and we go to like the root cause, uh, we're able to solve problems for people. And then I'll be like, hey, we're going to open this wall right here. I bring a plumber in for $200. He cuts the pipe, does his little wizardry, done. And then that customer is like, wow, you're my hero. And that's kind of what we live for, That's why I say this is Special Forces of Pest Control, because most companies out there don't even know about it.
Yeah. So now, is your favorite a Norway rat or a roof rat?
I would say it doesn't really matter for me so much, but the majority of what I deal with are roof rats.
Really?
You don't see too many Norway rats. That's more like when I hear Norway rat, I think of Central Park.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got them there. So we don't have roof rats here. Do you have any roof rats, Gabe, over there on the West Coast?
Oh yeah, lots of roof rats. Mostly roof rats, in fact.
Oh okay.
Because we're like, I'm in Portland, so we're port town.
Wow.
Roof rats are like they have them in Japan. They call them black rats over there. Same thing.
Yep.
It's a worldwide problem. I mean, they're everywhere because they used to infest ships, and then the ships would go all over the world. So it's the same way we got the Formosan termites. Was actually they traced it back to the 70s from Asia, back when they were using a lot of wood for shipping.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, we also don't have termites here. No roof rats, no termites. We're lame.
You don't have any termites?
You have subs, don't you? You have subs in New York once in a while.
Not in upstate New York.
Oh,
that's so crazy.
Nah, we don't have.
Yeah, I'll get subterraneans here and damp woods.
Yeah, damp woods are like they call them, I guess, agricultural termites. Never find them. You'll always find them in a tree, but never inside someone's home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Neat. Yeah, I want to get some termites, man.
There's a guy named Keith Gross. You should look into him. He sells these like termite terrariums. And
I've seen them.
Dang.
Yeah, and I kept it in my house. My wife didn't really like that, but we ended up getting drywood termites anyways, so not subs. It didn't come from the terrarium. We just had to put a tent on my house back in like June or July last year.
Oh, dang.
Oh, no.
Yep. It happens. There's no way to prevent it, really. I mean, you could do a borer care treatment on the wood, but still, unless you had every piece of wood on the ground outside before they constructed it and put it together, and you sat there and just dunked the wood into a tank of borer care, like that's the only way you could really prevent that from. And you
can't treat painted wood either.
And you can't. So exactly. My next door neighbor, when they built their house, it was all CBS block except for the attic and like fairing strips and some of maybe like the internal part of a doorway or something, right? And I was like, hey, while that's open, I was like, are you the person who just bought this lot? She's like, yeah. I said, hey, while this is open, give me $3,000 and I'm gonna go in there and hit everything with borer care and explain to her why. And she actually let me do that. It was the first and only person who had a new construction house that I got the opportunity to smash every piece of wood with borer care. So now I get to kind of monitor it for the next 30 years and see how effective that's going to be. If she gets termites, I'll probably buy her first fumigation.
Did you tell her that her house was a test site for you?
No. Nope, I sure didn't. But I'm sure Nisus would like to hear if it does end up getting termites. I'll be letting them know.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
That's great. Zach, anything else we should be asking you, brother?
No, I think we covered pretty much everything. I hope I was useful to your interview, and you guys have an idea of what we want to do, and we can maybe touch base on this in another couple months or a year, or whatever you guys decide, and we'll see where we're at and where we've come from.
Yeah, I definitely want to do some updates and see how you're going and what's changing. And I think, Gabe, did Pete wanted to come on too?
Yeah.
At some point?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. All right.
We should do it.
Yeah. Anything we should ask him, Zach? Anything like behind the scenes things we can surprise him with?
Yes.
Ask him if he's gone ice skating on that lake he has.
He has a lake? Oh my god.
He's
Okay.
got a lake.
Beautiful.
Yeah, isn't he in like Wisconsin or Michigan or?
He moved out to BFE.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's in the middle of nowhere. I know he's got a bunch of land. He lives in the woods in like a cabin. Is what it seems like. And that's what it looks like when I see him. I'm like, it's almost like one of those movies where like the guy was ex special forces and he doesn't want to be found, John Rambo style.
Yeah.
He's like in the middle of nowhere and surrounded by trees, and he's in a cabin by himself.
He's got like a 50 cal sniper right next to
with his
him.
dog, like John Wick style.
Or he's the Unabomber.
That too, yeah.
That's right. Could be.
Actually, you guys probably aren't even old enough to remember the Unabomber, right?
Yeah, no. That guy was he from New York or was he in the Midwest?
He was in like Montana.
Okay.
And he'd send bombs by the mail to like professors and stuff for like 10 years through the 90s and stuff.
You know, it's crazy. I when I was at the school of fumigation, I didn't realize, but sulfuryl fluoride, which is the active ingredient in the fumigant for Vicane and Zythor.
Yep.
That was actually tested and used by the EPA with members from the University of Florida and other, and one of the guys actually, I think, is from your state, Andy, and who was a part of it. And they were using sulfuryl fluoride to kill anthrax when they were sending anthrax through the mail back in the early 2000s.
Wow, so they'd fumigate the mail as it would come through or somehow.
Yeah, and
That's
like
amazing.
sulfuryl fluoride, I think it kills mold as well. Like it kills everything.
Wow.
So, that was something that was pretty cool. I figured I'd share it.
That's awesome.
That's really interesting.
Oh my
Cool.
gosh.
All right. Well, I'll close this out here. Thanks, guys, so much for tuning in to Coast Pest Talk. As always, leave us a review on your favorite podcast catcher. And don't forget to join our LinkedIn group, Coast Pest Talk on LinkedIn. Zach, thanks so much for joining us, brother. And best of luck for the year to come.
Thanks, gentlemen. Have a good night.
Take care.